DecoNetwork users, today we're here with SwagTex and the owner, Mohammed.
How you guys doing? How are you?
Hey,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're back on. I mean, you're one of the very few that we've interviewed multiple times, but we're in a new space. Tell us a little bit about your shop.
I can't believe you guys are back. I thought you'd be bored of me already. All right, thanks for having me. This is one of our newer stores. We built this a couple years ago. Let me take you guys around. I'll show you the layout. Let's start from here. So the last time we spoke, I think I talked to Colin, yes, and we talked about how we were kind of like a retailer and a custom products business. So with this store, what I wanted to do is really emphasize how much of a retail play we could have on this. So we opened up about a 4,000 square foot space with about 1,000 square feet of production, and this is the store. Yeah, so you walk in through here, you have a custom design space over there with a couple of different stations, right? Then you have a POS system there. Customers can come in and they can request custom jobs here, and you can see your work on this screen. We've got another one right over there, right?
Use the technology to your advantage.
Yeah, well, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of trying to explain to somebody what something is, you know, abstractly, you just kind of show them what it is, right? So they can go through and pick a polo or a t-shirt, mock it up, and in real time we'll just show them what it is, right?
Yep.
So this is our like 2 design stations. Then we have a retail setup over there. Again, this is all retail space, right? Half of the retail space is set up for quick items where people can purchase items and then bring it to the register and transact. And then pretty much that quarter of the store over there would be like for uniform services. So all that side on that side.
And how I often look at uniforms is a business typically buys them when they need them. Mm-hmm. and thus they have a demand. But it's with your retail space here, anybody can be in the market for a licensed hat at any point.
Sure.
And they can come in, buy it, and before you know it, you're cross-promoting your custom decoration businesses. So I assume that's where you get a lot of lead generation is through the storefront.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise. Sports are a big deal in the United States, right? So when a team is doing well, it's great to have relationships with like some of these bigger brands because we get to leverage that relationship into a different kind of conversation, right? So somebody will come in and say, you know, let's say the Eagles are doing well, the Phillies are doing well, they're buying a single piece item. They may not even know that we do custom products. So it's a good segue into a different kind of transaction. And you said something pretty interesting. You said they buy it when they need it, right? Like a uniform, they buy it. I like to, the way I look at it is, I want them to understand, they may not even know that they need it. Yeah. I want to get them before they know that they need it.
Makes sense.
Right, so they're not even here because they think they need it. They're here because they're going to a game, or they're buying a t-shirt because they're going to a game or something like that, or they just popped in to buy something, right? Our job with the custom side of the business is to help them understand why they need it, right? So let me show you like an example of that. So they'll come in and they'll buy a retail item, and then we'll give them like one of our pamphlets. It'll explain some of the work that we do, right? Yep. So we'll show them how, you know, what the work that we do is. You know, we'll give them a layout of, you know, what best uses are, the costs are. They'll scan a QR code. It'll take them to our website. It's just an example of a transactional situation where you're talking to somebody, they'll end up buying a hat or a t-shirt, and you take that relationship and now you make it a long-term B2B instead of just a B2C.
Do you find that being a one-stop decoration shop helps you not have to say no so much? Because I see that you do no minimum, DTG,
Absolutely.
you do large screen print, and sometimes it's that DTG order leads to that 1,000-piece screen print order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the key, right?
It's hard to compete when you just offer 1 or 2 decoration processes, I think.
I don't even know how you compete. Like that's a tough
You have to
business
keep
to be in.
saying, no, go try my competitor, and then give them a chance to take the business.
In this business specifically, that would be really difficult to not do it the way that, because it's such a, if you're a large scale contract printer, right? That's not what we do. So for example, let's say you're a large scale contract printer that does embroidery, where you're charging like 10 cents a thousand,
Yeah.
right? Or 25 cents a thousand, right? That is a way different business than what we're in. We're the front line of what we are dealing with the clients. They're typically dealing with subcontract work.
Yep.
So we're able to provide a little bit wider of a breadth of services because we're dealing with the clients. So when we're dealing with the clients, we don't want to disappoint.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas a contract printer, they're not dealing with the client. They're dealing with their subs, right? Like they're dealing with the people that are subbing out work to them.
That's one of my favorite things about the industry. There's so many different business models and so many different routes that you can pursue with the same equipment, and it all comes down to quality service. I mean, I always say that it goes service, then price, because if they don't care if you give them a great price, but you don't give them that quality that they need.
Absolutely. Yeah, the price becomes irrelevant if you show them why you can earn it from them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially tradesmen.
Yep.
Right? They're familiar with that conversation with clients, like an HVAC guy or electrician or a plumber. They want to be paid for their trade.
Yep.
Right? So it's easier to have that conversation with those guys because they understand that the valuation in the work is different with quality. So,
and in a way, anybody who's ever gone to like custom ink and bought some stuff, personally, I've seen some custom ink printing, don't always love it. They have to subcontract it, they can't control it as much.
Yeah.
But I feel like for imprint, custom ink, when we see those commercials all the time, it kind of exposes those contractors to realizing how valuable that branded product is, and it kind of helps us as decorators just kind of finish the sale.
Yeah.
You put the service in front of them and they know the light bulb goes off. Man, if I'm in front of my customers, let's put the logo right there at all times. And I try to tell like a restaurant, give your shirts at cost.
Yeah.
I mean, if a customer's willing to pay to market your business, which every time they wear a t-shirt, I mean, you said there's around 10,000 people walking.
yeah, it's about 10,000.
And if I'm wearing a branded shirt, I'm a walking billboard. And I don't understand why a lot of businesses, they don't be so greedy. Sometimes branded merch should be at cost, or, supply your employees with quality items.
So that's our job as retailers, right? To explain the value of promotional products. That's not that their job as a business, if they're a pizzeria, is to sell pizza.
Yeah.
Right? We're a promotional products company. Some of our business is a promotional products business, right? Our job is to help them know and understand why the value is in promoting their brand. This sounds like an odd thing to say out loud, but a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're not well aware of what is the value of promoting your own brand.
Yep.
There are a lot of people that are not marketers, man. Some people are just like, they're great at making pizza,
Yep.
but they're not great at marketing how good their pizza is, right? So our job as a promotional products company is not just to sell, the service. It's to help them understand why they need us.
Yep, I always say that most of the time we're marketing our services and letting them know what we can do for them.
Yeah.
And then we let them sometimes sell, because I don't like to hard pressure sell anybody into a t-shirt they're not ready for. So I let them know, and you're always there to support them with the answers to their questions.
Absolutely. So are you bored yet or no?
No, let's go check out your shop. Yeah.
All right, so here's the production area. So this is a little bit more of our uniform service area, right? We have like Carhartt stuff and high-vis stuff, right?
And there's some things you just can't explain on a website. I mean, I can't feel this on a t-shirt, you know?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you're just buying Carhartt because it says Carhartt.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty quality too.
Yeah. The quality is definitely there. Then we have a production area back here, right? It's kind of like a hybrid retail space, right?
So I see we're doing embroidery back here.
Yeah.
You have a single head, a 2-head, and a 4-head.
Yep.
So you're ready for a one-off, 50 order.
Yeah.
And then it gets too big, you send it off to
Our
your
warehouse.
other facility
Our
warehouse.
warehouse, yeah. So we're able to take like small and medium-sized orders here, and then anything that's overflow, and that's why we have a warehouse for. So this is our kind of like our embroidery section, and then we have our quick turn direct to garment stuff and vinyl. Cool. Right?
You are, one-stop decoration shop. I mean, again, if you're not doing it here, and you can only do so much in a retail location.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard to have multiple locations, or is it all about finding and putting together the right team so that you don't have to be so hands-on everywhere?
The team aspect of what we do is essential. Without a team, you can't pull off more than one location.
No, I wouldn't think so.
But there's also one other aspect to that. It's team and process. So if you have a good team with a bad process, you're still stuck. So you need to have a good team and a good process for how you're dealing with that team, because you can only go so far with a good group of people. It's just not. It's not. They wouldn't be doing efficient work. Right? Because I've had that situation in the past. We had to figure that out the hard way, where we had a great team, but a really bad process. And that was like prior to, the conversation that we had. Prior to DecoNetwork, it just wasn't a good, the workflow management was not good. How we got our order from the client approved, there was no approval process. There was no order taking process.
Email, phone call. That's
Dude,
not
it was
efficient.
horrible. It wasn't an efficient process at all. It was frustrating. And then the client was not approving. The client was, they weren't approving the right colors. There was ambiguity in color. This business is so specific. That blue, how many shades of blue are there?
Oh,
right?
If anybody's had a Pantone book knows there's thousands of colors.
So imagine having that conversation after 1,000 shirts. Like, you can't have that kind of it's not.
No.
So the approval process was super important. Setting up mock-ups and having a visual, like a tech pack, having a visual like blueprint of what the work is, that was really important. Being able to like disperse the work to the right departments.
Yep.
That was super important. Like who gets what? Housing data, like customer client data. That was like a big hurdle. Being able to retrieve customer files from a year ago, that was like a big hurdle. Locating those customer files in like an efficient time, that was a hurdle. So.
And like something you just said there was, DecoNetwork's very powerful software. It does a lot of things, but you can simplify it for the right people.
Sure.
Like your embroiderers don't need to look at a screen print order.
Sure.
They don't even need to look at the website side of things. All they need to do is be able to download the artwork and know what color they're really sewing it on. And there's often more than that, but the point is you can simplify your process for those individuals who actually need to do that specific job.
Absolutely. So that goes back to process. Right?
Yeah.
So you asked, is it difficult to operate more than one location? Yes, depends on how difficult you want to make it for yourself. If you want to have multiple locations, you got to have a great process and a great group of people, and they have to feel like, and they have to be a great motivated group of people also, not just a great group of people. They have to be a great motivated group of people. They have to feel like that they can get somewhere with you.
Something I often hear from a lot of decorators right now is struggling to find the good employees, because it's just, it doesn't matter what industry we're in right now, it's hard.
Yeah.
And how long do you, like if somebody's never decorated a product and you're looking for a new decorator, how long does it take to train them?
Oh man.
It can take a while, it'll take a few mistakes.
Okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. My hiring process is unlike a lot of other people's. Okay, it's an unconventional way of hiring. So for example, let me just do that one again. Ready? Cut, and then repaste. My hiring process is very unconventional. way of hiring. So I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't hire people, industry people.
Okay.
I've learned that hiring industry people is just not for me, right? And I liken that to a process of like trying to recondition people.
Bad habits are hard to break.
Exactly. Well said. Bad habits are hard to break. I like people that are young, motivated, that they just want to, they want to do something in the industry. They want to learn the trade. They want to learn this business. They want to develop themselves. I get along with people like that super well. Like there's just a common ground there. Where it doesn't always work for me is if I bring somebody in from another shop and they have those bad habits, and I'm thinking I'm inheriting a great printer, but I'm inheriting somebody that's just not willing to be flexible with process.
Yep.
I don't care how great of a printer you are. If you can't work with my process, it's not going to help me because my process is what's worked for me.
Yep.
You know? So to answer your question, how hard is it to find help? It's gotten a lot easier because I hire everybody. I don't just hire industry-specific people. And then when I hire people that are they're not trained or they're not experienced in this business, because my process is good, I'm able to train them on basic things first, right? So like I can bring a guy in and show him how to pre-treat. If he's cognizant on how to print direct to garment, then I would bring him all over to embroidery, because embroidery, an embroidery machine doesn't differentiate.
Yeah,
it doesn't differentiate between your hand or a garment.
Yep.
So you want to make sure that you don't put anybody over there that's going to create a problem, right? So I get to move them around if they come into a situation with the right humility and the right attitude and they're willing to learn. And typically, my best case scenario is I hire young and then I build them up as I go. And they scale. Makes sense. And they scale. So they go from like entry-level employee to a department lead to running their own space to, making a percentage of what the space does.
And you have to kind of lay out that blueprint.
That one's important.
Early on, I feel like when I bring on a new employee, I tell them, hey, here's where we're starting at.
Yeah.
Here's where I expect you year two. I'm a big sports fan.
Yeah.
And you see all these athletes and they sign these contracts.
Yeah.
They know what they're going to make each year.
Yeah.
And before you know it, athletes get incentives built in, just kind of like you're explaining. So you have to motivate them.
Sure.
And keep them active and not let them go chase another dream.
So the way to look at it is I try to put myself in people's shoes.
Yep.
And if I feel like I would be stagnant at a certain point, then I try to shake things up. Like, this is what you can do to move on. This is what you can do to build yourself up. This is what you can do to scale up, to do better financially. This is what you can do. So I give them that out. And when I give them that out, people that are cognizant, they want to move forward in their life, they don't have a problem. I don't have any problems with those kind of people.
Yep.
That now, there's a flip side to that. If you get somebody that's unmotivated, they don't really want to, they're not looking for that kind of scenario, then you're kind of wasting your time.
Well, guys, it's been a great conversation here with Mohammed. Check out SwagTex.com, right?
SwagTex.com. Check out CapSwag.com. Check out CapSwag.com. SwagTex.com. What else should we check out?
BroadMarket.com.
Yeah, BroadMarketHome.com. Right? It's a few different things going on.
And again, with DecoNetwork,
DecoNetwork.com.
you can launch multiple websites from one account. Pay one hosting fee, have it go into the same order management, so it helps you stay efficient from all that point. So
well, I appreciate you coming out here and highlighting our story and listening to me talk way too much.
I feel like I've learned more
about what we do
than DecoNetwork users can just from everything you've talked about.
Sure.
So.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the amount of value that the software has brought us. And I mean, 100% mean that.